Hello everyone, today I will be going over a few important things to consider before you try going for Seele in Honkai Star Rail. I will be going over Seele's kit, her current power level compared to other characters, how future-proof she is, how good her eidolons are, as well as how long we can expect until we get a rerun banner for her. My goal is that by the end of the video, you can make the best decision for yourself, especially if you don't plan to be a Honkai Star whale on every banner that Hoyoverse shoves in your face. Now, I do also want to preface this before anyone says anything. If you do just like her as a character, and already just want to pull for her for that reason alone, then sure, you can pull for her. I'm not here to stop you from pulling a character that you really want in terms of design or gameplay. Now, while we're still on the topic of warps, I think it's vital for everyone to understand that we aren't always going to get this many freebies from Hoyoverse. And this isn't just mere speculation, this is just gacha fact. Happens in every gacha, even in Genshin, where the rewards happen to be pretty front-loaded, so make sure to be cautious not to do anything that you're going to regret in the future. Now, with that out of the way, let's get back to our main topic at hand, Seele. Is she really a must-pull character? So in order to answer this, first thing we got to do is look over her kit. Her skill is Sheathed Blade and does 275% of Seele's attack as quantum damage to a single enemy when maxed, and it boosts her speed by 25% for 2 turns as well. Her ultimate Butterfly Flurry costs 120 energy and allows her to enter a buffed state. Then she deals 510% of her own attack as quantum damage when maxed. Her talent Resurgence allows her to enter a buffed state whenever she defeats an opponent, allowing her to increase her damage by 100% for a turn when her talent is maxed. On top of this, it gives her a bonus action, which should be noted doesn't count as an extra turn in terms of buff countdowns. Honestly, really solid. And honestly, in terms of eidolons, she doesn't really need them to be a strong character, but if you really do want to go for them, Eidolon 1 doesn't really help much for your damage output, whereas Eidolon 2 and 3 would be pretty nice places to stop at if you wanted to. Now, with that out of the way, we can compare her to some other characters in order to look at how powerful she really is as a DPS character. Now, Seele is a part of the Hunt class, meaning that she's meant to play the role that dishes out some huge single target DPS. Apart from her, we do have another 5-star option in Yanqing, and 2 4-star options in Sushang and Danheng. Now, to make this quick, she's definitely a far superior DPS character when compared to the 4-stars Sushang and Danheng, which is pretty natural for a 4-star versus 5-star difference. Where it does get interesting is where we compare her to the other 5-star Hunt character we currently have in the game, Yanqing. Seele does actually come with a lower base attack than Yanqing, who has 679 at level 80 versus Seele's 640 at level 80. Though it is worth noting that Yanqing is an ice type, which is a different type of coverage to Seele's. Seele also comes with a larger base speed than Yanqing, which gives her that initial bonus priority in battle. Alongside that though, she does have her talent, which gives her the extra action and enters the boosted state when defeating an enemy. I would say that at the moment she does have the upper hand as the best DPS for the current content. However, it is worth noting that if general enemy swarms become more tanky, and we have a world where they aren't weak to quantum, much of what makes Seele good diminishes pretty quickly, as she can't defeat the enemies, meaning less buffs and less extra actions. So remember to be careful when listening to the pure hype and giving into FOMO straight away. That being said though, even when she is overshadowed by another character in terms of damage eventually, with 7 elements in the game, it could still prove to be good coverage, especially when enemies do prove to be weak to quantum from time to time. At the moment of her release, Seele is the only 5-star quantum character though, and we do know that Silver Wolf may be coming soon enough since we do actually get to play with her in the story, so it does show that she is complete at the very least. Now to answer the next question, does she have a future-proof kit? In order to answer this, we're going to answer 2 questions. Firstly, do her abilities inherently get better with other supports in the game, or future supports which may be added? The second thing to look at will be, is she easy to power creep in a design point of view? Now to answer the first question, I would say that her kit allows her to work pretty well with supports now and probably into the future since she is a greedy character. She can literally work well with other supports to allow her to generate skill points over time when they aren't healing, buffing, or providing damage bonuses to Seele. I think it's also worth noting that the upcoming quantum character Silverwolf, which is a 5-star, is not going to be power creeping Seele, as they aim to achieve two different things altogether, as Silverwolf is a support who looks to debuff enemies, while Seele is a DPS character who just looks to deal damage. In fact, because of that, they might actually work really well together. Only time will tell. Now, the downside to her being a greedy character is that she fits into less teams altogether. How can this be the case? Well, if we compare her to supports, supports provide benefits which are more universal to many teams, and does make them safer to build as characters in general. Though, that being said, I do expect for her to be the best quantum single-target DPS character for at least until they add another quantum character who's also of the Hunt class. And that's something very specific. I would be surprised if they added a better quantum DPS within a year, due to the fact that she is both a quantum and DPS character. On top of this, I do think it's worth mentioning that although she might not always be the most efficient in the long run, it is likely that she'll always be usable throughout her lifespan in the game in order to compete in the future content. Again, if we look back to Genshin Impact as an example, we can see that people are still clearing content with characters including standard Baronet characters such as Diluc, although obviously at a much higher skill ceiling and at usually slower times. So by this point, maybe you're looking to wait it out and see how she performs over time, and maybe warp for her when we have some more data in the game. Or maybe you simply weren't able to get her in time, despite dumping in every wish that you put into her banner. How long should we expect to wait until we see a rerun banner? Once again, we can make a pretty good estimate if we refer back to Genshin Impact, and we'll refer back to the first limited release banner, which was Venti. His initial run ended in October of 2020, and his next banner began in March 2021. So that's around a 5-month gap of waiting time, give or take. I would use this as a general rule of thumb for when you should maybe expect Seele to appear next. And as always, if you are wanting to see more upcoming guides on if you should be pulling on limited 5-star characters like Jingyuan as he releases, make sure to subscribe so you can see it as soon as it comes out. Thanks for watching.